Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Atlantic Bushcraft Adventures, episode 44, I believe. And Happy New Year's, Ben.
Happy New Year's.
So, new year, new exciting stuff around the corner, hopefully.
Yep.
So, and
Yeah,
that,
I hope I expect so.
well, I mean, we got a whole year to figure it out, right? And that's kind of the whole point of this episode. Or at least my feelings on it, are just to give everybody an idea of what some of our plans are for the new year. Like I said, new year, some new plans, maybe a little bit of new equipment on the way. It's hard to say. So, why don't you start us off there a little bit, Ben? I'm going to do our advertising, then I'll jump back in.
Yeah, so like I said, new year, some new changes. I know that we've learned a lot in the last year, so there's definitely going to be some improvements, I think, overall in the channel. We're hoping to branch out quite a bit more. In addition to, we're not going to take away from the podcast side of it in any way, shape, or form, but I think we're hoping to get some more videos out individually and together doing different events, things. And we have some things we really have in the works. We're not going to talk too much about, but definitely expect some new material in the next little while. Personally, one thing I'm going to start doing is the odd, and I don't know if it will be a continual or a constant, but the odd review. I got a few items I definitely want to review, talk about. I know Robert's been into that for a while, so he may do some more review in the future.
Yeah, I
It's
have.
kind
I got a handful of stuff I want to do some review videos on, and I have some stuff planned that once I get it, I would like to do some review videos on. And you and I have talked about some of those items in the past, so maybe March. We'll see what rolls around in that time of year.
I mean, I got a couple of pieces of equipment that really haven't been well reviewed. When I bought them or when I received them, I went online to see what I could find about them, and I really couldn't find a lot of information, but they seemed like good products at a decent price, and I really was interested in it, so I bought it. And I noticed from like other bushcrafters that I talked to that there's a lot of hesitancy towards buying something that's not well reviewed, not well either positively or negatively if you have no idea what you're getting into. So
And that's just
the
it. I mean, I'm guilty for it. Anytime I'm thinking about buying something new, I of course go out and I see if I can find anybody that's done a review on it. And I try to look for people like us, in all honesty, people that just
yeah,
honestly go out, buy the product, test it, and post their thoughts up.
yeah. So one example of that would be the mat I got, this Ecotech Hybrid 8. There's not really a lot of discussion or YouTube videos on it. There are a couple of like overall reviews that state that it's a good product, but beyond that, not a lot of information. So I've had an opportunity to test it a bit now, it's one of the things I haven't done one yet, but it's one of the things I want to touch on. And I got a tent that I've already started a review. I think we're going to release something in the next day or so.
It looks that way that it's scheduled to come out. You and I can
Yeah,
chat about that a little bit after we're done here. Hello, Chris. Welcome to the
yeah.
show again, man.
But and that one isn't a complete review, but just to get people know what my initial thoughts were. So we're going to be doing things like that. We're going to continue with podcasts. We're really hoping, I think, to get potentially some interviews and stuff going this year. We haven't had a lot of luck with that last year.
We
We have,
do have something tentatively scheduled for the future. And
yeah,
I guess we'll just see how the cards fall on that one. Because
yeah,
the big thing with doing interviews and stuff like that is everybody has their own life, and some of these people are pretty busy. I mean, that's kind of what we're dealing with now, so no fault to this individual. Hopefully, it all works out, and we'll give you guys
oh
lots
yeah.
of notice when it goes to happen.
Yeah. But that's something that we've always planned on doing, and we'll see now if we get the right opportunities. And it's exactly it: getting schedules to mix up and getting all the equipment working for the additional people, not just at our end, but on their end. it takes time and effort. So we're working on that.
Jeremy wanted to know
And
what
I'm
you thought about your pad there. He just threw a
my
comment
pad.
up. Yeah, you kind of. No, maybe that's video's not released. I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut. Go ahead, Ben.
This pad,
Yeah.
I really like it. My wife kind of makes a routine joke that I'm a bit of the princess and the pea. If the mattress isn't very comfortable, I won't sleep in it. There are places I've gone, the bed isn't very comfortable. I almost refuse to go back. Like I'm not sleeping on it. So I am a bit picky about what I sleep on. The reason I went to hammocks because it wasn't comfortable enough on the ground generally. I hated those closed foam mats and stuff. Uh, and I really balked at the concept of buying this at the price it was at, which is as insulated ground pads go, it's fairly affordable. The few nights now I've slept on it, I have been surprised at how warm I've stayed and how comfortable I've been. And especially when you consider this thing isn't super thick and it's really flexible, like it really conforms to the ground. And if you come up to this, if you see it inflated in my shelter and you say, I want to see what it feels like, and you push on one of the little bubbles, you're going to be like, that's not very firm. But the trick is, once you put your weight across all of them, it is.
Yeah, it kind of
Uh,
balances itself out.
yeah. But it has an insulation in between the pockets. It is a synthetic insulation, but I mean, this bag, it's it's not much bigger than an Algene bottle, and it's really squishy. Like
Yeah,
you
so
can
it
squat.
compresses down. And I might have goofed up on this a little bit too, Ben. I reread it there, and I thought he said the Echo pads, but it's the EXPED Exped pads. So he said he'd trade you for an Exped pad. Must be some sort of inside joke there I'm not privy to.
I don't know if it's an inside joke. Yeah, Jeremy's had has an X-Pad down pad
Hmm.
that's uh, he loved it for a while. He's not loving it so much.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean,
And
happens to the best of us. It's just the way the cookie crumbles, right?
he mentioned in one of his more recent videos how he woke up the next morning on the ground. It had deflated on him. He
Hmm.
wasn't sure why. He's been struggling with that for the last couple of trips, I believe, and it's very frustrating when your gear isn't working.
For what it's worth, I had a very similar pad do a very similar thing, and it was around the valve. Honestly, like
Yeah,
it's a brass fitting inside a plastic sleeve, and air was escaping through there. I just put some silicone on it and fixed my problem.
yeah, yeah. I'm not really 100% sure of the whole story, and it's really his story to share. But the end result is some of these pads are upwards of $300. Not this pad. This pad's more like 80. But some of these insulated pads can get quite expensive, and this is semi-standard size. The biggest disc. Me and Jeremy had a long conversation about this over the last few days.
I can
Biggest
tell.
downside we've had with this one is I have yet to find, and I've contacted the manufacturer. I've yet to find like a pump so I don't have to blow into it. And the only reason I
Mm.
wonder about that is by blowing into it, I'm tending to put moisture into it, and I'm not necessarily going to get that moisture back out every time, and that leads to potential for mold or degradation of the insulating properties.
And
Um,
that I could see.
so if I can keep it drier, it lasts longer. It's going to be a better product. So that's the thing I'm looking at right now. Um, but I gotta say, so far, I'm fairly impressed with the overall product. Um, and I expect to be using it for a while. It does work in a hammock. It does work on the ground. It would probably work very well if I went back to Keji and stayed in one of their cabins on those solid wood boards, which was
Mm.
a complaint I had on a much earlier episode as possibly one of the worst sleeps I've had in the woods ever. Was in one of those buildings. So, yeah, overall, I'm very happy with this. I think it has a R value of 4.5, which is decent.
Yeah, I just have it. I actually opened it up here on Amazon to see what they're currently going for, and that's what they say they have. So an R value of 2.2.
No, I got the insulated one.
Oh, you got the insulated one. Sorry, that's my bad. Must be this one. In any case, it's definitely more than 2.2 if it's insulated then.
I think it's 4.5. I'm pretty sure. And the pack size on the bag says 10 inches by 4.5 inches. So it's not a very big bag. It fits in my pack really well, and doesn't weigh a ton. So
R value of 4.5. I just found it. And they're
yeah,
currently going for $79.95.
yeah, about $80.
Yep. Which is
And
not a bad deal, in all honesty, if it keeps you warm.
it weighs 1.5 pounds, according to them. It doesn't really feel like that. So hard to beat that. Yeah.
Sorry, I was just reading the comments and catching up before I was bouncing around there. But yeah, and get it kind of dragging us back more on topic here. We have some other reviews that are coming out, and as you guys kind of seen over the last few weeks, as Ben was mentioning, we have a lot more other videos starting to flow out on our channel, which is hopefully we're going to continue down that road, like Ben said. We each kind of have our own plans for that, which it's nice when Ben and I can get together and do something together, but the reality is, once again, we live like an hour away from each other, which is not a long time, but when life gets involved, it's not always easy for us to meet up and, shoot a video collaboratively. So we've kind of, I'm not saying branched off, but we kind of are doing individual videos and dedicating to the channel, as you guys kind of seen, and I think that's still kind of the plan going forward, which honestly, and feel free to jump in here, Ben, I feel it gives us the advantage of, even if we reviewed the same thing, and I think you and I talked about this before, it's going to give you two different points of view on it. So by doing it kind of this way, instead of us just doing a video together on reviewing, for instance, a hammock, and it's just kind of a combined of our two ideas, which we'll still do if we have the opportunity to get together and do such a thing, but let's say we don't, and we each do a review, that's just going to give you kind of two different outlooks on it.
Yeah, so anyone who wants to send us gear, you get two reviews for the price of one.
Exactly. See, Ben, you are the man. You know how to make a pitch.
But no, yeah, we will do this. We will. I mean, I can give you the opportunity to try some of my gear, which helps out. We get a lot of advantages here. The other thing I think, there's a couple of things I really think we should talk about before we go too far into this episode.
Sure.
One, I think, because this is a New Year episode, we're talking about the future, but for one, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for at least two individuals that I think have supported us quite a lot, and that would be our wives. They have put in a fair bit of effort that's really never seen by any of the viewers or listeners, but they put up with a lot of shit for us to do this. You know what I mean?
No, 100%. I mean, I'm sure it's the same for you, but I mean, Melissa, for me, she's my lifeline. When we go out, she has a map and GPS coordinates of where we're going. So if something goes wrong, like that, they're literally, for me, my support person. I'm relying on her to get me out of there. And I'm sure your wife is very much the same with you when you go out.
Yeah. So I think we should throw a huge thanks out to them. The other thing, since we've started this channel, we have developed some relationships with other media, I guess. Jeremy's on here right now. Gary's been on there. We've been to the Atlantic Bushcraft.
Over on the Facebook channel. Chris has been here since day one.
Chris has been here since day one. There's quite a few people that have been here supporting us and helping us and discussing things with us. And that has helped us grow and learn and stuff. So I got to throw a huge thanks out to all those guys and girls that have contributed in their own ways, shape, and form, because we can't do this without any of them. So I want to make sure we covered that before we got too far in. So this whole thing, bar none, is about getting out there and doing stuff and enjoying it and what we can do to do that. And it's not always about the equipment. It's about the skills. It's about knowledge. And it's about really the enjoyment overall. And I think that's really coming through in this show so far, don't you?
I think so, for sure. I was just kind of sidetracked there. I was reading through the comments, which is the benefit of my side. So for anybody that doesn't really know, Ben uses his phone as his camera, so unfortunately he doesn't get to see all the comments unless I tell them to him, or he goes back and reads them or pulls them up through his laptop or something like that. So it's kind of funny when I watch like Chris and Jeremy right now have a little conversation of their own poking fun at Ben, because I get to laugh about it and he doesn't get to know anything about it. And they're not really poking fun at you, Ben. They're just from your plug to our wives there, they're saying that you're obviously looking for brownie points, or you already bought something expensive and you're trying to figure out how to break it to her. So
No, but I mean, they do provide a lot of support. Like a lot of my gear, I wouldn't buy myself, but she's gotten it for me. She knows I want it and need it or whatever, and she'll do that. She'll make the jump when I sometimes can't. Yeah, don't worry about Jeremy. He lies.
Oh, I know. I mean, you can't trust anybody like that. But no, just like Ben said, we work bushcrafting in general. We've said this way back in our first episodes. It's a very group-oriented activity. Those of us that get into it, we're passionate about, and we like it. We're not competing with each other so much as supporting each other. Like, I recommend Jeremy's channel to anybody once they start talking about our channel, or Gary's channel, or, pick a channel, Nova Scotia Bushcraft, another group that supported us, kind of inadvertently supported us because they allowed us to do our initial advertising through their group. So, I mean, another big, huge thank you out to them as well. And that's just the way the bushcraft community goes. So... and apparently Chris has bear steaks for us, waiting for us. So all we got to do is get over to Newfoundland and we'll have some bear steak. And you know what? Mark my words, one of these days I'm just going to go and throw it down on my credit card and you and I are going over for bear steaks. I don't care. Like, we're just going to blow in. So hopefully he has bear steaks and beer ready at all times. Because someday I'm going to be like, hey, I'm in Newfoundland. Where do you live?
It's not that hard. We can jump in one vehicle and just drive over. It'd be better than flying, I think.
Yeah, I prefer the ferry. I mean, I get seasick like a bugger, but I still like the Newfoundland ferry. I always did. I don't know if the Caribou still runs now or not. Or if it's been replaced. Yeah, so that's how long it's been since I've been to Newfoundland. So.
Yeah. No, we'll have to definitely consider that someday in a not so distant future. But I'm really looking forward to getting out more. I got a lot of plans. I got a lot of stuff that I want to do. I already see weekends running out. That's the saddest part already. Like, this is the first year. I only got 52 weekends to figure this out. But if we don't get it all done this year, it just means there's more for the following year.
And that's the thing. It never really finishes. There is no end to this in any way, shape, or form, or at least not in my eyes. Because I imagine at some point we are going to loop back and start talking about things that we've already covered, which we have done, but our opinions have updated. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the beauty of the podcast. Because I was talking to Melissa about this the other day. If you look at our YouTube channel, it doesn't look like we have a whole lot of people viewing it and stuff like that. Like, our numbers are fairly low if you compare them to other channels, which is just the name of the game. But the reality is...
Like Jeremy over there.
Yeah, like Jeremy over there, Mr. Couple Thousand subscribers himself. But the reality is... I think
he's well over 3,000, and I believe he told me a while ago that he's got like over 1 million viewing minutes or something. Like, he's growing like mad.
Oh, yeah.
We're not catching up to him anytime soon.
No, but nor do we want to. I mean, I guess we want to, but it's not a competition in that, right? Because, well, we are dabbling into this now with our new releasing of videos and stuff, but when Ben and I started this, it was a podcast, and podcasts, they get their generating from audio. And we have actually had the opportunity to talk to some individuals from all over the world doing stuff like this. Like, there's a fellow there talking to us last week from Ireland, and we've talked to people from Australia, Austria, United Kingdom, Russia, Spain, and that's just picking the ones out of the top of my head that I remember. I was like, they'll shoot us a message or something like that, and be like, oh, hey, just wanted to let you know, we're actually listening to you over here, which is kind of neat. And
I kind of want to visit all these places and see how they do it, but
oh, I mean, it would be amazing. I mean, if anybody out there wants to, give us some plane tickets or a private jet, one of those G5s or something. Something small, convenient,
Yeah. Don't worry, I'll do the maintenance. We'll be fine.
Yeah, sure. Well, I won't do nothing because you don't want me doing nothing. When I worked at
No.
my other job around the helicopters, I was told to sit and keep my hands to myself, and it's probably the best thing that ever happened. So, but yeah, I guess New Year coming in, we do have some stuff coming. I guess one thing I wanted to mention here, Ben, was I have been given an interesting opportunity. I'm going to be having a very close friend of the family staying with us for a little bit here. Just kind of situational thing. It just worked out. He's going to be staying with us for a little bit. And he's very into the bushcrafting aspect like us, as well as homesteading. So I'm going to be helping him, with luck, start the process of creating, like clearing a space, cutting the trees, sawing the logs, and building a homestead on a fresh piece of property. And I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to work a few videos in and around that, which hopefully I can figure out how to make it all link in and be relatable. But I mean, it's still kind of bushcrafty the way it's going to be going about it.
All right.
It's going to be very old style building. He wants to completely take it off grid, be self sufficient. It's a beautiful spot he has to put this property up too. So hopefully, I don't know what the timeline's going to be on that at all. I just know we're going to chat about it while he's here for a few days, and I already like,
I assume that's out your way.
yeah, not far from here. Literally only about 10 minutes down the road. If anybody knows the area, it's the Park Falls area out towards Thorburn. It's going to be down in there. It's a beautiful stretch of property. It's very heavy in, I think it's spruce. I can't remember. There's a few pines out there, but I think it's a lot of black spruce because it's a wet area and stuff like that. So I don't know how they're going to saw up, but we'll be definitely taking a look at it. And to me, it was just an interesting thing because he really wants to set it up like a homestead. And I know homesteading's kind of its own thing too, but bushcrafting and homesteading, they work very closely together. And I'm hoping I can pull the best aspects from bushcrafting and maybe touch on a little bit of homesteading as he goes forward. And maybe there'll be some information coming up on that. So you and I will talk about that a little bit more too, Ben, because like I said, it's still very sudden. And we just chatted about it for one night, and hopefully I can work you in there somewhere, and we can do a couple bigger projects on this as well.
Well, I'd be more than willing to come out and give it lend a hand where I can, especially if we can get something out of it in the way of a video or
Well,
meal.
well, the meals, that's no problem. But I was thinking more like, yeah, we can hopefully figure out the timeline, and when something real interesting comes up that we think we can work with, maybe we'll try and coordinate something to where we can shoot a video out of it and use
Yeah.
his property and his setup. I don't know what his willingness is to be in a video himself, but he is more than happy to allow us to use what he has available to him to shoot our videos.
Sounds awesome. Yeah. So, see, uh, potential things to come up. We're definitely not limiting ourselves to any one particular area. I mean, I think one of the things that draws us to bushcrafting is the broad areas that it covers. We talked about that from the very beginning when we started this. Before we did a single podcast, we were trying to make sure we had enough ideas that we could get through the first few months. And I think we quickly realized that there's enough topics that we could go for years and probably not have to double up on them. But we are going to, because the really important topics do warrant talking about a lot and
Well, yeah,
and update.
exactly, updating. That's exactly what I was going to say. Sorry.
But there's always the big important things, the things you do absolutely every time, and then you get into the things that you do occasionally that are a bit different or unique, and each one of those are important in their own rights, but may not have to be brought up as often.
No, but like that's just it. Bushcraft. That's the beauty of bushcraft. You never stop learning, even with skills you think that you have quote unquote mastered. Every time you do it, you're going to learn something new, and that's why when we repeat a topic, there's something new we learn that we just want to put out there. And we've said it 100 times, and I'll speak for myself, but I'm sure Ben is along the same lines. I do not proclaim to be a master of anything. everything that comes out is just my personal experiences. I do think some things a little better than some people, and I do some things a little worse than some people. You know what I mean? It's always a give take, and it's literally just sharing our information and receiving information from other people like Jeremy,
Yep.
and Gary and Chris and everybody else. Like, they give input, and it helps us formulate our opinions and give us ideas on what to do with some of the stuff we do our videos on. So never think that it's just Ben and I versus the world. It's a very large fellowship. Is that the right thing I should say?
Fellowship, community. You could use either of those words quite well there. Um, yeah, and it's great that we have this, like I said, almost community or family that we've gotten. I mean, it's really good that I can reach out to a lot of these guys and talk and discuss things, and there's people out there willing to get together and do stuff with us. It really does make it different and stuff, and we don't necessarily always get videos of a lot of this stuff. Sometimes it's more about just meeting up and talking and discussing things amongst ourselves that help develop stuff that we're going to do later. I'm personally, I mean, I'm trying to learn a lot more skills with this camera, and how can I get better videos and better content by. So I think you're going to see a marked improvement, not right away. Don't expect like a really sharp improvement, but it's coming. It's going to happen. It's going to be gradual, but
And that's one of my major goals for this year when it comes to Atlantic Bushcraft Adventures. I want to learn to shoot better videos.
yeah.
I know that we had a chat there, and I openly said, like, I am not an artsy type of person. I'm a very technical type of person. You give me something you want done, I'm your guy. But if you're like, oh, here's a camera, go shoot some nice pictures, give it to my 3-year-old, you're going to get better pictures. So I guess she's 4 now, that's my bad. But anyway, give it to my kid, you're going to get better pictures, because I do not have an artistic eye. I have very narrow-minded stuff, and I got to try and broaden that out and learn to shoot some better videos, make them flow a little better. So that's one of my major things that I am going to try and work on for this year.
Yeah, improve our videography. And like I said, I mean, I'm learning quite a bit, I think, from Jeremy. That's the reason we originally contacted him, was that he had awesome videography. If you look at his videos, they're very well put together. With the exception of a handful that he openly admitted when he started. He said, I just shot this one quickly and I'm putting it out and it's going to be different. But he's always changing it up and doing things different. And I'm learning a lot from watching his videos and actually sitting and talking with him. And even just learning to edit. Like, some people might say, oh, you just shoot it and throw it up on YouTube. All this stuff takes a lot more work than you think. The podcasts aren't too bad. We do them live. They're more or less semi-straight upload.
Yeah, they're very raw, for lack of a better term. We do upload them as we are shooting them. And that's kind of why you get some of the weird pauses and uhs and laughs and dead silences. Those are all things you got to edit out other videos, and it all takes time to cut it together and make it work seamlessly, so you just don't have a whole bunch of like little glitchy, choppy, flashy things go through. So there's a whole unique skill to that.
But we're learning a lot. We are definitely improving. We're definitely enjoying it. I don't think there's any doubt on for either of the sides for that. And got a lot of plans that I hope most will work out for us. But I hope you guys keep listening. Are we winding up here? I feel like we're winding.
Yeah, we're at about 28 minutes. There's just 2 last things I want to bring up too. So.
Okay. Yeah. So, what are they? I want to hear.
Well, no, it's just another thing that we have slated for next year, and I don't want to throw any names out there just in case it all, falls through the sieve or something. But there is plans for Ben and I to do some work with an outdoors group, doing some instructing for them. And we are going to have a little conversation with them. I already talked about potentially shooting a video with that, and we're going to look at, liability waivers and, well, not liability waivers, what are they called? Video waivers and stuff like that, using their image and blah, 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 just to get everything legal, because this is a not-for-profit organization asking us to come in and do some stuff for them, and the kickoff for us is going to be we get a video out of it and all that good stuff. So there's hopefully something like that coming up in the future as well, probably around spring when things warm up a bit, because it is a younger audience we are going to be targeting with this, and and you never know, maybe. But depending on their level, I don't know if I want to drag them out in like a minus 30-degree day, as so much as maybe a little warmer weather. But we're gonna judge the audience and go with that, I guess.
Yeah.
And the only other thing I wanted to bring up, and you and I have already talked about this too, is this is episode 44. We are only 8 episodes away from our 1 year anniversary. And we do have some plans for our 1 year anniversary. So I know it's 8 weeks away, but we might as well get that running now because you and I have already talked about this. And for sure, what we're going to do is give away one of these t-shirts. 100%. These are made by Ben's already shown these off, but just to show them again. We have one of these t-shirts we'll give away to anybody that's subscribed to our YouTube channel as off our 1 year anniversary. So be sure to spread the word, get people subscribed up, and we'll draw a name out of that. And these are made by Ben's wife on her Facebook page, which is Missy
G Make.
That's it.
Missy G.
So Missy G Makes. Be sure to check her out on Facebook as well, because once again, as Ben said, his wife has been helping us greatly and support us with the merchandise up to this point. And that's my 2 things. And you never know, there might be some other goodies go with that t-shirt. But for right now, it's definitely a t-shirt.
Yeah, I got a couple ideas. Just got to put them together.
Yeah, and I got to slide the other materials I got to you to see if they get done in time. But.
Oh my! So yeah, I hope you guys continue listening. Any ideas you guys have? Anything you really want to see? I know, Chris, that you want us to come to Newfoundland and meet you.
So Chris actually did ask if there was a winter camp trip in the plans. Ben and I have talked to that about the show because there was one in the plans for maybe January. The situation that just kind of arose in the last 2 days may throw a wrench in it for me, but we'll chat and see if we can make something work.
I'm getting out for sure.
Yeah, and well, that's the thing. There may not be a trip between, like the original plan, I guess, was there was going to be a big trip with a couple of us getting out. Now I may have to try and sneak out with the buddy that's going to be staying with me for a little bit here, and I got to talk to him, got to talk to you, and we'll go from there.
I've been out twice over Christmas, and I still got to get out a couple more times. I shot one video. I tried to edit it today. I think I'm just going to toss it and restart over, so I got to get out and reshoot that.
Oh, that is the worst.
There's a lot of good stuff in it. It's just not enough. Not enough to make a proper video. So that has to do with our improvement. Like, it seems simple and easy enough, but the reality is there's a lot more to this. So, and I'm learning. And I'm getting new gear and stuff. I think we may have mentioned I got a new mic now to work with. This phone's relatively new. We got new gear. All this stuff's going to add on. Winter camping has its own twists and turns that we haven't really covered to the fullest up till now. We're going to really get into that, I think, in the next couple of months in discussions. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to. I'm looking forward to hear what you got to say about your plans in the next few weeks, and see if we can work them out so that maybe we can still do everything we want to do.
And that's just it. I think we have to try and figure out the best way to hammer out as much of it as we can. Something I'm hoping to do over the next, January, February, because at the end of February it ends, is I want to do a little bit more rabbit hunting and setting a snare line, and I'm going to try and drag the cameras with me and do some videos while I'm out doing that. I may not incorporate the hunting/snaring so much into it, because that's its own thing again, and but I'll definitely try and drag the camera out, maybe do some stuff while I'm out there. Maybe I'll spend the night in the woods while I'm running the trap line. It's hard to say.
Yeah. But if it's a good night, I'll come with you. Yeah. I can meet up.
Well, that's just it. I got to figure out where I want to run my trap. Well, I'm just going to start off with rabbits. But I do have my trapping license, and I've thought about it real hard for the last, probably 5 years about starting to get back into trapping and run a fur line and start selling furs. I mean, it's not really... I don't know. That's probably next year's thoughts, but this year I definitely want to go out and do rabbits again. I do enjoy rabbits, and I like having a little bit of the meat in the freezer from them, so that's kind of what's motivating me for this one. Hunger is a great motivator.
I really would love to do one where we get out there and we catch a rabbit and then cook it
Yeah, I'd be down for that. Because
for an
we
overnighter.
are in snaring season. You're allowed to snare right to the end of February. Now, that's not a spring pole trap or anything like that from anybody that's listening. That's literally brass wire snare. Or, actually, the other thing is I may take the bow, because you're still allowed to bow hunt them too. And
All
I'm a
right.
big fan of the bow.
Cool. Sounds good. So we have plans to get out. As always, we'd love to hear any of your guys' plans, anything you're doing, anything you're interested in sharing. Please send it on to us. We'd love to hear from you. Get out there, be safe, enjoy yourself. And if you got new gear, like we said, I always say test it in a controlled environment. That was the reason I got out a couple of times this Christmas or over the Christmas break, was to test new gear and make sure it was going to work for the future trips. It's been relatively mild here, so tests haven't been as full and complete as I'd like it to be, but it's given me a really good idea of what I can expect. So keep that in mind too. Like, even the best tests you can do may not be a realistic test when it comes to reality. Does that make sense? Yes, I think that does.
I understood what you meant. I'll say that much.
Okay.
But
Once you get out there, reality could be a little harsher than you expect, but you should be at least have a ballpark of where you're standing and what you can do.
and I am in the process of trying to make a more accurate testing area for some of my stuff, like more cold weather testing and stuff like that, just right here beside my office, actually. So hopefully, if I can get that up and running, that's going to give me the availability that I can basically test anything I want. And if it all goes wrong, literally, it's just bounce up in the house. So
Yeah, I have that ability in my backyard. I have a couple of perfect trees, partly sheltered,
I have
very
no
similar to
trees I can
how.
put a hammock on. Not one. No, sorry, one tree I can put a hammock on, and the rest is all bushes. So I went out the other day and I was looking at it's a great big oak in the back, and I'm like, oh, it's such a beautiful tree. That's an awesome tree to start a hammock on. And then I looked around. I'm like, there's literally no other trees out here. Like the backyard's very shaded in, but they're all bushes. They're all like, you know what I mean? Like you're
Yeah,
not gonna hang from them.
I bet you I can show you how to hook something up out there.
I could, but I doubt she'd really want me to destroy her. What are they, Mongolian or Mongolian trees and stuff? Anyway, the people that owned the house before us, like not the last people, the people before that, they're herbiculturists, and the whole backyard has all these expensive bushes and plants. Apparently, there's a weeping cedar or something like that that grows beside my garage, and I've threatened to cut it down a
Right?
couple times until Melissa looked up what this thing costs, and now it's protected more than I am. So, but
So it costs $50.
yeah, well, I mean, I'm only protected for 25. So. But no, anyway, we digress. Long story short, there are lots of plans coming for the new year. We are going to start pumping out, or we are going to continue putting more videos out there, as well as our podcasts, to get into or get more videos out onto our YouTube channel. I guess the other thing is switching to YouTube, since we has worked out very well for us. Not that we dislike Facebook in any way, shape, or form, but YouTube did give us some avenues that we didn't have with Facebook before. So we're not bashing Facebook, but or at least I think, the move to YouTube has been a successful one for us. I don't know what your guys' thoughts out there are, because I know the majority of you that are listening to these, you download it from either Spotify or iTunes. So I guess that really doesn't matter to you what we do with the actual video parts of it, but maybe sometime
Yeah.
you'll pop over and take a look and subscribe and maybe win a t-shirt. At least a t-shirt.
Anyways, yeah. I guess we'll wish everyone a good night. We've already said, take care and all that. So night. Looking forward to seeing you next week. We will have a subject for next week, I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure, that will be a bit more focused.
Yes.
Yeah.
The last two episodes are kind of, I don't want to say filler episodes. They were more open episodes just because both of them landed on major holidays. Both
Yeah.
Ben and I are, I don't want to say recovering, but are worn out from New Year's Eve. And Christmas is just, it's Christmas. It was a hectic day to begin with. But as promised, we have not missed a show yet. On the LG a little. Oh, Instagram. Yeah, Chris, it's not that I slacked off on Instagram. I got froze at Instagram for about a week and a half now. I just got back into it. No idea what happened there. Apparently, some people can make fake accounts and they'll add you. Anyway, long story short, we're good to go now. I got shut down for like a week. So,
Hackers.
well, Mark Young had a very similar problem. Somebody cloned his account and they left the cloned account up and shut his down. So,
Those guys should go camping with us.
4 go in, 2 come out. But anyway, yeah. So Instagram will be going back to, but to be fair, not a lot of crossover from Instagram to YouTube for us anyway. I'm sure it's out there for everybody else, but for us, not a lot of people from Instagram follow us over to YouTube. Once again, just where it's the podcast. 99% of our audience is audio listeners through either Spotify or iTunes. And but we're going to try and make a push for the video side of things because we have had requests, we have ideas, and we have things we want to get out.
Yeah.
So that's it for me. I'm going to stop rambling.
Yeah, I'm good too.
Okay, Ben already summed it up. Everybody have a good night. Happy New Year.